Some brands are born famous, others disappear into history. And then there are rare cases like Panerai, a brand that proves reinvention can be more powerful than uninterrupted legacy. Panerai's story begins in 1860 in Florence, Italy. Founded by Giovanni Panerai, the company originally operated as a watchmaking school and workshop, but this was not a typical luxury maison serving aristocrats. Panerai became a technical supplier, producing precision instruments for the Italian Royal Navy. Compasses, depth gauges, and highly legible watches designed for underwater commandos. These were tools built for survival, not status. For decades, Panerai operated in near secrecy. Its watches were made in small quantities for military use, never sold to the public. The designs were unapologetically functional: oversized, cushion-shaped cases, luminous dials developed using radium-based compounds, and wire lugs engineered for durability. The aesthetic wasn't refined, it was purposeful. Visibility underwater was the priority. Reliability in darkness was mandatory. And then, silence. For much of the 20th century, Panerai remained obscure outside military circles. It did not cultivate retail presence. It did not chase collectors. It did not build global recognition. In fact, by the 1980s, the brand was virtually unknown to the commercial watch world. But sometimes obscurity becomes an advantage. In the early 1990s, the oversized military watches were rediscovered. Their bold proportions, enormous by the standards of the time, suddenly felt radical. At a moment when most luxury watches measured 36mm, Panerai's 44mm and 47mm cases looked rebellious. The minimalist dial design, with large Arabic numerals and sandwich construction, felt pure and masculine. What had once been strictly functional now looked like a design statement. The turning point came when the brand was acquired by the Radiomir Group in 1997. With serious resources and strategic direction, Panerai transitioned from dormant supplier to global luxury player. But the genius of the repositioning was restraint. Radiomir did not reinvent the design, it amplified it. Panerai leaned heavily into its naval mythology. Campaigns highlighted Italian frogmen, underwater missions, and the rugged history of military craftsmanship. The watches were marketed not as delicate horological art, but as instruments forged by necessity. The narrative was authentic because it was real. Scarcity added fuel to the fire. Limited production numbers, numbered case backs, and tightly controlled distribution created immediate cult appeal. Collectors became passionate, online forums flourished, Paneristi communities formed around the world. The watches were bold, instantly recognizable from across a room. In a market filled with subtle refinement, Panerai chose presence. The Luminor and Radiomir models became icons of minimalist strength. Large crown guards, clean two-hand dials, and expansive cases created a visual identity unlike anything else in Swiss watchmaking. Panerai didn't compete through complexity, it competed through proportion and purity. This was reinvention done correctly. Instead of fabricating heritage, Panerai excavated it. Instead of modernizing beyond recognition, it preserved its core aesthetic. The brand understood something crucial. Archives are assets. Dormant history, when authentic, can be transformed into contemporary relevance. Throughout the 2000s, Panerai expanded carefully. In-house movements were developed to strengthen technical credibility. Complications were introduced, but always within the framework of bold legibility. Even when materials evolved, ceramic, titanium, carbon composites, the DNA remained intact. What makes Panerai strategically fascinating is how it turned what could have been a limitation into dominance. Oversized cases, make them a signature. Minimalist dials, make them unmistakable. Limited past visibility, turn it into mystique. In branding, clarity beats complexity. Panerai never tried to become a traditional haute horlogerie house, competing on finishing artistry alone. It didn't attempt to shrink its cases to follow trends. It embraced what made it different and amplified it relentlessly. The result was a brand that went from near extinction to cult phenomenon in less than a decade. But the deeper lesson is about narrative power. Many companies possess archives, few know how to activate them. Panerai demonstrates that when historical truth aligns with modern taste, resurrection becomes possible. Reinvention does not require abandoning identity. It requires rediscovering it. Today, Panerai stands as one of the most recognizable design languages in luxury watchmaking. You can identify one from across a table. That level of visual authority is rare, and it was built not through aggressive reinvention, but through disciplined storytelling. From a small Florentine workshop supplying naval commandos, to global boutiques and devoted collectors, Panerai's journey is proof that brands do not always need continuous visibility to achieve greatness. Sometimes, they need the right moment. And when that moment arrives, history becomes momentum. If you enjoyed uncovering how a nearly forgotten military supplier transformed into a modern cult icon, make sure you return for the next story. We dive deep into the strategies, turning points, and bold decisions behind the world's most fascinating watch brands, and the next chapter is already waiting. Stay with us. The next story might surprise you even more.